All right. Thank you, Sean, for allowing me to record this. Now you got some questions around the publishing, of your upcoming project. So I've got your questions here, but you can go ahead and if you want to go ahead and use this medium here, or the way you want to ask these questions, or if you got some other ones, you can just go ahead and fire away.
Okay, sure. So maybe I'll start with sort of where my business partner and I are thinking about how we're going to actually bring this book to market. Um, so our thought right now, and this is where we're really trying to, get some professional feedback. Is our thought right now is we're going to make this book. We're going to find a printer so we can sort of, print it ourselves, so to speak.
Yep.
And then
so you want to self-publish it, in other words.
Yeah, basically,
Okay.
Self-publishing. And then initially we would go to do something like Kickstarter, where we can, bring all of our followers from social media that we build up, bring them to Kickstarter and sell the book, as long with some other things like stickers or T-shirts or posters,
sure.
some things that kids might enjoy. Maybe there's a coloring book of some kind, something like that. So sort of two things, I guess, like that's sort of where our heads are at, is as far as making this real. And I think what we're trying to find out is, is this strategy okay? Is this a horrible strategy? Should we be better trying to get a publishing deal with a real publisher? Or should we just go to Amazon and do digital books for a while? So I think that's I know it's kind of a lot, but that's sort of
that's perfect. And especially in what I love to help people do, you know what I mean? It is, how can you maximize your business? And for individuals, it's really, monetize your life using the mediums and things that you're going to be doing. All right. In this particular case, let's talk about the strategies that you have before you, the ideas. And one of the things that I sent you over in email was, hey, think about pre-sales.
Yeah.
Right. And because, of course, Kickstarter is a particular strategy, but if you've got some social media followers now, then what we want to do is start thinking about how we can monetize them, how we can get them excited around the product itself. Okay. Right. And it doesn't require a lot of money. And if they respond the way we think they should, or we want them to, then you get some monies to start and do the rest of the project. That was the key thing. So Kickstarter is going to hold your cash until the campaign's over and all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want that. Right. I'd like you to have some dollars in pocket and let the public tell you whether or not your ideal is good. We kind of think, hey, you know what? This is going to work. It's beautiful. I thought it up in the middle of the night. It's going to sell. Well, guess what? The public might go, meh, it's not going to sell. So doing something like this is by creating just that what Eric Ries called the minimum viable product, right? Being able to, and you can do this for pennies, getting the concept idea, maybe just a preliminary cover, an idea of what you want it to be like, what the insides are going to be like, even if you don't have a cover yet. Then that starts building, hey, we're building this. Imagine this is you and your partner. Hey, we're coming together. We're building out this children's book that's going to involve this, and this, and give a little bit of how the story is, what got you excited about it, maybe a animation or two, right? Just a little something that's not that hard to do, right? You can go right on over to Fiverr and have them build out a little something. And it doesn't even have to be the finished product. It's just what you're thinking that starts, the engine of your project. Then put that in front of your followers and say, hey, listen, what we're doing right now, everybody, is we are doing some pre-sales before the project. You don't have to say, hey, we're trying to raise money to get this project going. You say we're doing some pre-sales. And what we're doing is we're allowing you guys to tell us what you've noticed. So now you've crowdsourced your ideas. Again, when your crowd tells you what they've noticed their kids like, it may help you adjust what you were doing to what they tell you they want. See
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
power in that?
Yeah, for sure.
As a
Definitely.
strategy, then you now say, oh, wait a minute. I know for the most part, we have what parents are telling us, right? That their kids seem to like during this pandemic or whatever it is, what they notice they gravitate towards. And then you guys look at the project that you were getting ready to do and go, we need to adjust this thing,
Yeah.
right? Or if you put out your preliminary idea and nobody clicks on the link to go to learn more or anything, then you know it might be a dud. But you do this before you put a whole bunch of time in. Time is money. We could be doing something totally different with our lives than this.
Yep.
So you
I
see
hear
what
you. Yeah.
happens? So I would recommend going that route. Now, what I also, and I love self publishing, and I'll
Okay.
tell you why, is you control your own destiny,
Hmm.
right? And not only do you control your own destiny, you control your product. And you had also mentioned in there creating an LLC.
Yeah,
Perfect
definitely.
idea for a
Okay.
variety of reasons. Now you can create the LLC so it survives past you, all these different things. Or you can say, hey, listen, I hope that I don't offend anybody, or I hope nobody's pieces of information or whatever went into this book. And if it does, and they need to kind of, come at me, they don't come at me, they come at the LLC.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
got some degree of protection. Not all. Talk to your lawyer about that, but it just helps. But you
Yeah.
own it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You own. It's back in the day they used to call them tapes, but you own your masters, your tapes.
Right.
And if it hits, because you're going to be marketing just like traditional publishers do, right? Yeah, except you're going to be getting the majority of the money that you can do
Yeah.
different things with. Then if some publisher comes to you and says, hey, we would like to republish this, now you have, hey, we've got thousands of sales. You can go in a different negotiating position.
Yeah.
And if they've got the big, muscle behind it, they got other, titles that are beautiful and all that kind of stuff, and they want you to fit in there, you can at least say, hey, we'll do a joint venture with you
Okay.
because you own your own product and you've proven it. If you get sales, you can go to a big traditional publisher and say, hey, listen, we need your help in going the last whatever mile. This is what we've done so far: 2,000, 3,000 sales, 200, whatever it is, with a children's book. And here's some of the other things that we've created off of that children's book. Maybe it's a product deal. So you can go to people with that type of thing and say, we've proven the concept. So don't try to hit us with, we're going to do this for you. We know what we're doing here. We know the target audience. We've got sales. People have paid with their wallets. They've shown us they like it. We
Yeah.
just need distribution. We need to ramp it up. We have no money. Maybe we can do a joint venture.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. I'm right there with you. That sounds great.
And the beautiful part about doing it this way, Sean, is again, you have flexibility and you also have speed. Going to a traditional house, well, they're going to have to first, somebody got to accept it. Then somebody's got to read it. Then somebody's coming in saying, nope, do this. Then they, go through the editing process. Well, you might go, you know what? I want to skip all that because I like to put this thing out in 3 weeks, 3 months, not half a year, not a year.
Yeah.
These are the reasons why self-publishing allows you so much flexibility,
Okay.
right? And if you do this way of finding out if you got something, then you can use some of the same powers that traditional publishers use, and that is they've got maybe built-in markets, but you wouldn't made or shown your market, and the market responded.
Okay.
Does that
No,
make
that
sense?
sounds. Oh yeah, definitely. That makes total sense. Sounds like self-publishing is definitely you know where my head is at, where my
Yeah,
business partner's head is
yeah,
at, and of course keeping in control or over your own product is, I
Absolutely.
think, ideal, really. So
Yeah. And that becomes the fun part of it, Sean,
yeah.
is, you by doing it that way, again, and I can't stress it enough. I love publishing my own stuff, because what if you say, if you look at the contract of some of these traditional publishers, you might not get paid. They may say,
Mhm.
hey, here is a couple of dollars to build this project, but let me show you the rest of the contract and what that language says. We own the rights for this amount of time. You're
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, forever in perpetuity? I don't think so. You know
Right.
what I mean? Or you get cents on the dollar.
Right.
Or hey, we won't pay you a dime until you give our the money that they gave you ahead of time comes back. Their advance until all this crazy strange stuff.
Yeah.
When what we see right now, Sean, that's working direct to consumer. Movies are even going, guess where?
Right. Direct to
Direct to
consumer.
consumer.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't worry about them theaters.
Right.
We'll bring it right to you. And then they have the nerve to still charge you theater price. That's what I'm a little salty about, but I mean, that's another story.
Right.
But the power there
Yeah.
of, and then let's say you got some success and it's going pretty good. Now you do a Kickstarter campaign with sales, with
Okay.
energy behind it. So now people look in on it and they go, oh, wow, these guys are on fire. How can I be a part of these? Oh, okay, we'll give you a sticker. We'll give you this. We'll give you a mention in the book. I don't know, whatever you want to do, right? From something that is already proven, already working, already getting attention, right? And then maybe some traditional publisher sees that Kickstarter campaign and it's on fire and it's showing all of these, proof of concepts and testimonials of how, the kids really love it, all that. Now they go, hey, we'd like to come in. And then you can go, well, this split is 70-30.
Yeah.
You can now be Amazon.
Yeah. Okay.
You get where I'm going with this?
Definitely. I'm right there
And
with
then
you. Yeah.
so many things off of that, right? Now you say, okay, we got this publishing, long before the publishing deal, we now have this product that then you can narrate over, let's say, hire somebody with a voice that kind of comes in for pennies. Now
Mhm.
you've created another product. So you've got the book, you got the digital product, right? That you haven't given rights away to because of the fact that you're
Yeah.
self-publishing. That becomes the flexibility. You could do chapter books,
Mhm.
right? Just like Dickinson used to do back in the day. You say, hey,
Yeah.
here's the chapter. And get this. This is the great thing and flexibility around this. You could do one chapter and see if it works.
Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah.
Do
I like that.
somebody narrate over with a great voice, kid's voice, or whatever, however your characters come out. And then say, well, next week, next month will be to get access, it's $1. So now, as opposed to having a book that is, 12, 13, $14, you may be getting from all over the world access to the children book as it gets written. Are you kidding me right now?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I
Okay.
mean? And
Yeah.
and from using the power of maybe people coming in, giving you some hints of what their kids might like next. Hey, if you'd like to be a part of our project, go to www.ourkidsbook.com and send in your. Now you use that information to build
Yeah.
out pages, to build out chapters. That's crowdsourcing.
I love that. I mean, you said it better than I could. I was thinking along those lines, like, how do we get the actual readers and the kids to give us feedback
Yeah,
and like creating something special where they could say, this is what we want to see, and then we can
yeah,
do that.
yeah,
So I love that idea because we're not just putting a book out there and saying, I hope you buy this, but it's a two-way conversation with the
absolutely,
reader, with the parents, and
absolutely.
it's like as interactive as a book can get, kind of, right? Because you're
Yeah. That makes it
you're
different.
talking right to them, and they're talking back to you, and you can put that in the story, and they can see that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that kids would love. I mean, if I were a kid and I could talk to my favorite kids book author, illustrator, and they were taking my ideas and putting it in a book, I mean, you'd be crazy, right?
Exactly. And then it becomes if you remember Jones Soda.
I
Jones
know the
Soda,
name.
it's kind of I don't know if it's a regional play, but no, Jones Soda, I think is all over. What they were doing was using people would send in their pictures or whatever, and they would put their picture on the soda bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, are
I
you
remember
kidding me?
that.
If I
Yeah.
saw my, that would be awesome. So now you're doing that same type of interactive. What you're basically doing is rearranging how things are done.
Yeah.
For the purpose of getting them done better, more excitingly, right? More, in this case, interactively, and we hope more financially lucrative.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And what parent wouldn't say for $1, a month? And I say something small like that for each chapter that comes out, for access to, and all of these things can be built for a little bit of money, not a lot. We're talking for pennies, building a membership space, whether you're using WordPress or Wix or whatever, building an area where people can come in and think about it. If you now have, let's say, and I know this is kind of bigger and broader than the original question, but I want you to start thinking about destination, and then we're going to work backwards.
Okay.
Right. That's what you get from Chris having introduced us today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So then you have, for pennies, you've built this little, portal, whether it is a YouTube fed, right? So you got a YouTube channel, you got a Facebook page, let's just say, and then, this project. What is this project? Well, this is an interactive kids book that does this. Here's where we would like our characters to go. You help them get there. So kids with their imaginations, oh my gosh, right? They come in, and then you do the Jones Soda approach, obviously with the permission of the parents and sign-offs and all that, whatever it takes, right? Model releases, whatever it is. Then now you have something that they're into that doesn't have to end.
Love it.
It's still at a $14 price. That $1 a month, you now get it's getting some really interesting excitement around it. Maybe a channel or two picks it up. Hey, there's 2 business partners with this interactive kids book that never ends. That's you guys, right? And then you give me some dap by saying, that guy helped me. You need to go over and talk to him.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
You see what's possible?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And we're not talking about this, oh my gosh, this is so big, I can't, it's like an elephant, I can't eat it. No, we're talking just small steps.
Yeah.
Create this first, create that second, create that third, start putting it out there in places that people might gather around this subject. I'll give you an example. I had somebody do some research about kids books, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to write a kid's book. I just wanted to know what seemed to be the biggest thing. And I found that over in Australia, this is what the research showed, that over in Australia, there was so much interest around kids' book ideas.
Really?
I was amazed. I was like, man, I don't want to be, over there in Australia. I'm like, but they Australians, they speak, pretty good English as well. So I thought, well, I shouldn't be hard-headed. Then I should bring a list together of kids' books ideas, run Facebook ads to just that area. I never did it because I couldn't get out of the fact that I wanted stuff here in the United States. I wanted the way I wanted it, all this garbage that was up in my head. Right. But that becomes how you can now do your book. You says, I'm finding the folks here or my own audience. We're doing it this way. Next thing you know, the kids are involved, the parents are involved, and then the parents can't wait to buy. You get 4 or 5 of them. Maybe they buy the 4 or 5. You get 4 or 5 more. Maybe they buy that too. You see what I mean? 4 or 5 chapters.
Yep.
So now it's not a small kids book that ends. It's one that's continuing. It's interactive. And you do that until it stops working.
Yeah.
You could have made thousands of dollars. Maybe, I dare I say, you could have made, because you can go global with that.
Yeah.
Somebody pick it up, like I said, on the news, it goes wider. Going back to, get this, a website that brings people into the journey.
Hmm. Yep.
I'm just saying what's possible, man.
No,
I didn't know if you wanted all that, but there you go.
I'm listening. I'm listening for sure.
Is there any other questions that you might have? I know we had, I gave you guys 30 minutes, and but you know what? If we need to go a little bit further, you
Yeah.
talked about printers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here in now, where do you, are you living in West Michigan?
Yeah. I'm in north of Grand Rapids in
Okay,
Belmont.
okay.
Yep.
There are some printers right here in town that do a really good job. There's some designers of the internals and all that do a good job, and they've done this kind of work. Color House Graphics, it's literally right there on Eastern Street. I've used them before for a couple of my
Okay.
earlier books. Color House and JPL Designs.
JPL Designs.
JPL Designs, and they're not too far from each other. But I mean, we're talking for a little bit of money. You're talking getting the interior designed if you want to do it that way, right? You can go, of course, to Fiverr to find somebody to do some of the artwork. I'd just be very careful that they haven't done the artwork for other folks,
Right.
right? And that being the case, some stuff could be copyrighted.
Sure.
So you want to make sure, you can go there, Fiverr, you can go to guru.com, Upwork, all these different places that you can outsource things. You know what I mean? And then when you're ready to publish it, if you want to have a physical copy, then of course you can go to Color House Graphics, run off, 100, 200 books. You know what I mean? You can use those in so many ways. You can say, hey, here's the first 5 chapters. This is a continuing saga. To jump in, go over to www.ourmemberportal.com, because it's constantly changing.
Okay. Yeah.
Color House is loving up on you because you're constantly getting stuff printed. You can use the print copies to send out to folks as gifts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get into your marketing, you start thinking about where I'm going to market this. Should I be going influencer marketing? Should I be going, influencers on TikTok? Should I be all these possibilities? Here's a couple of books that you can say it's a continuing saga. It's interactive. We let our participants tell us where we should go next. How can they get the hero to the right? It's crowdsourcing imagination, bro.
Love it. Yeah.
Those are just some of my suggestions when you wanted me to consult on this. There it is.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm all ears, definitely.
So what 1 or 2 questions, what else can I help you with?
So you've published quite a few books on Amazon. I looked that up.
Yep.
Is there any, I don't know, any experience, feedback that you can tell me? Like, was there any mistakes that you made, or did you run into anything where it was like, I didn't know that, and I wish I would have before I did this?
Oh yeah, a ton. Like publishing a book and you get 2 people buy it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't test out whether or not the ideal is something that people wanted.
Okay.
Right. And some of the ways to do that becomes how you're now doing your research. Are we saying, I'm just going to give this to you despite what you might want? Or what is the public asking for? What are they doing? If you did looked in on, if you could do something as simple as the most popular, I'd go right to Amazon, the most popular top 10 kids books.
Yep.
Right? Go over there, see what what pops up, they'll show you.
Yeah.
And then you go, I wonder if I can find those folks that are buying these books.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that digs into it a little bit, but what you do have is how people have been paying with their wallets. They're telling you what's working. And then you say to yourself, wait a minute, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just got to make sure it goes on my car. Right? So you might say, what is it that is the formula of the top 3? Right? Yeah. It may be, you'd be surprised at what it is. And then can you adapt what's happening there to what you're doing, right? But you're going to reorder the parts instead of somebody, creating this thing and then, hoping that it works. You're saying, what if we did a interactive kids book where we let them tell us where their hero should go?
Yeah.
We don't know if it'll work,
Mhm.
right? There's obviously no guarantees, but at least now you have given yourself a better shot based on not your feeling, but what's obviously working right now.
Yeah.
You see my point? Now, mistake that
Gotcha.
I've made, of course, is building stuff that nobody wanted. Now that's not terrible. That's just wrong-headed.
Uh-huh.
Because now if you're a great repurposer, then you can always bring it back in, break it up, do all kind of amazing things with it, use it as giveaways, use it as a lead magnet, all these different things, that just tons. So there are no real mistakes. It's just time that you put in.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep. Another thing that you have to be cognizant of is Amazon's a machine.
Yeah.
So I didn't run Amazon ads. Why not? They put your book in front of people that are buying in that category. Hello, that's just for $100. I can start running ads to my book that's not even done yet. In your case, just having a pre-sale opportunity that drives people to a website that then starts that funnel, that motion, right? On your website itself. This is a cool thing. You can have the pre-sale book and then extra stuff that tells them, hey, look, if you really dig what we're doing here, why not put the t-shirt on? Right. Before you even build the t-shirt, you can have that over at some place like Teespring. That it's a print on demand play.
Yep.
Hey, who knows, right? All kinds of stuff that you could do that you don't have to pay up front for. You're just trying to get interest in.
Yeah, I totally hear you. I love that. I love that concept. I love that idea. I think that's right on the money for sure.
And doable. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want you to have a idea that goes to nowhere. The things that I typically talk about, and when I'm working with clients, it's like, can you see that this could work? Yeah, I can see it. Have I shown you the steps in a simple way that you go, in a weekend, I could probably do this?
Yeah.
And if those keep being yeses, then it says, okay, let's get to the thing that might stop you. I love doing this part. What do you think could get in the way of your project being successful?
That's a good question. Other than putting out a product, like if we don't do our research, if we put out a product that nobody wants, the other thing that would get in our way of being successful, that's tough. I mean, I'm thinking like if we kind of put it out the right way, we do our research, we market it the right way, we get the social media following, we create some hype around this before it even comes out. We have other merchandise to sell, like t-shirts, stickers. What would keep it from being successful? Gosh, I don't know.
Not doing those things.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is that, that was a test and you passed the test. If you can come up with 1,500 things, you might have a problem.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And if you did come up with 1,500 things, I says, well, you got to solve 1,500 things perhaps before you do this project.
Right.
But what you just did there was illustrate, if I do these things, I may have a shot.
Yeah.
Research, seeing putting out a minimum viable thing so you don't put too much time into it. Marketing, pre-sales, excitement. You just stepped out, literally. I didn't do it. You stepped out what it could take. And if I don't do those things, well, maybe I could have a dud on my hands.
Right. Okay.
right? So you've just laid it out. And that's a great thing. Now, here's another question that I typically have for you and that is what you're doing right now or thinking about doing this project, is it a priority? Is it a now thing or is it a someday maybe?
I'd say it's definitely a now thing. I think it started as maybe a someday when
Mhm.
my business partner originally, he kind of was like, "Hey, well, let's make a kids book," and I was kind of like, "I don't know, maybe." Um, and then as we kept talking about it, it kept evolving, and then when we finally latched onto an idea, and we said, "I think that's a good idea," and we've put in so much time and time, effort, creativity,
Mhm.
excitement. Um, we have laid out some of these ways to market it, to connect with people. Like, we're setting up our website, we're setting up our social media. um, we've already tried to find some print on demand places to talk to, and things like that. So we haven't necessarily, like, we're not 100% done with all these things yet. We're
Mhm.
still in the middle of making it happen. But um, I think we feel confident in what we're doing,
Mhm.
and I think we're excited about it, and that we can see it's not just putting out a kid's book and saying, "Well, I hope this ends up on a shelf somewhere where someone sees it," but it's actually, like, really what you've been talking about is like building this business around it,
Yeah.
so it lives beyond one book. We can keep putting books out. We can go through YouTube and some of these other avenues to make products, to connect with a customer, to generate revenue. Um, sorry to answer your question. Yeah, it's definitely
That is exact. And the reason I asked that question and that test, if you will, is because I love working with people that know what they want.
yeah. Okay.
That's that becomes the thing, and then asking is this a priority for you?
Yeah.
Hell no, I got 3 jobs, I got the kids, I got to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It might be a situation, right, that you have to overcome,
Sure.
and then as we've done today, do you need help? And right now, obviously, being here says, yeah, a little bit. But if you
Yeah.
want to call me up and we want to go a little bit deeper into it a little bit, let's do that.
Okay.
If you need the help,
Okay.
right, from what you're getting today, because there are things that you may want to do. I'm going to show you something real. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Hold on.
Sure.
So it's what I did for one of my publishing, the actual LLC, right? Randy Austin Publishing. Can you see this
Hmm.
all right?
Yep. Yep.
So Randy Austin Publishing, and this was a while ago. I'm actually doing some revamp on some different things, taking it off of Wix and putting it on something else. But it just gives you a place where people can go, and then other stuff they can do. Right, here's a contest that I was doing, not a contest, but it was an event I was doing. A little bit of who we are, not super fancy. It doesn't have to be a low explanation as to why you guys exist. You know what I mean? Talking about some of the things that are on their way. See, this becomes what is possible from just creating something simple.
Hmm.
Right, here's what the latest books I've done, probably I think 4 or 5 more since then. This is the audio book, takes them right over to Audible. Something that's not super fancy, but
Yeah.
this gives people an opportunity to get into your stuff.
Yeah.
Get
Definitely.
into your stuff. And if they can get into your stuff, then the funnel, whatever people want to call it, long before you buy ClickFunnels and all that stuff, they get into what you're doing and start loving up on it. You build the community that way. And in all the check things that you said you guys have put into it, time, energy, website, long before that, the only thing that was missing was customer. Let's go
Yeah.
get them first.
Okay.
Let's go identify them at least. It's like fishing, right? If you ever fished, you bring all this equipment. I've done that. Bring all this stuff. You got, all the stuff. You go out there and don't get a bite.
Yeah. I've been
Versus
there.
finding out where the fish are first, what they're biting, right?
Right.
And just bringing that and go and have a bucket and your pole and the bait that they like, and just, I mean, if you're not vegetarian, I apologize to all my vegetarian friends out there about the, catching the fish and, but so that, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Turning that and saying, okay, if we had to start right where we are, let's go find those customers first.
Okay.
And there's some strategies that I have that I show people how to find them. I gave you one by, going to Amazon where they already are.
Yeah.
Look at the colors. I did this with a client not too long ago. I says, let's go over here right now. Let's typed it in, right? Because he had colors he liked.
Yeah.
And they were dark. They were dude colors. All right, come on. Right. So I says, let's go just look at the top 10 books. And we looked at and noticed the colors. Right. We noticed the people that the characters they used, the fonts. That's being strategic.
Yeah.
Then you bring that back into your project and you go, okay, I got all this stuff. Now, how do I go from where I am now to this new information?
Okay.
You see what I mean? And then that's where, if you want to go deeper, you can work together and go deeper.
Okay.
Does that help you a little bit?
Yeah, no, that's great. Definitely. I'll definitely share this information with my business partner and see how he feels. But I think we're all kind of one mind here on this. So
good. I want to see you guys be successful, man. I want these kids out there getting some good stuff that they can use that helps them grow their lives, their little lives.
Yeah.
Right. And these are kids are different today.
Right.
They're a little bit more, the cartoons that they watch are a little bit more mature. If you really think about Harry Potter, it was a pretty mature book. You actually wrote it for adults, for goodness sake. Right?
Yeah.
So you now have to think about that as you're putting your product out there and determining your age group that you want to jump off with your information and with your book into. That makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Hey, hopefully let's work again. Let's do some stuff, okay?
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, any other questions you come up with, just hit me up. I'm going to send you a link to buy me a coffee, and I'll send that in your email. So
all right, cool.
Okay, brother.
Thanks a lot for everything. Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.